Nothing ever appears to be as it seems, as today, October 30th, would appear to be just an ordinary day. To most, it is, but that certainly isn't the truth for Vincent Gutierrez. An innocuous trip to the local convenience store to buy a lottery ticket ended with a far more unexpected stroke of luck. As Gutierrez crossed the railroad tracks of Vermilion and Shane on the South Side Way, his vehicle suddenly stalled on top of the tracks. Efforts proved futile to restart the engine, matters only appearing to worsen from the bellows of an oncoming train whistle. It looks as if Gutierrez would be the victim to the tracks that once claimed the life of over 24 school children who met their fate in a very similar fashion. However, things are not always as grim as they seem. Whether it was a divine prayer, Gutierrez's level-headed efforts, or the gentle push from beyond the grave, the car would start up and roll, narrowly avoiding disaster. Disaster cannot always be avoided, as we were grimly reminded by the grandiose display of a Mr. Keith Doherty. Keith knew that his girlfriend Brittany had a nostalgic fondness for the now defunct Walham Park in Lunenburg, Massachusetts. Keith decided to petition and raise awareness in hopes of returning the defunct park to glory. What better way to drive publicity than to make it the city of a new world record? All Keith would have to do is ride Brittany's favorite carousel for a total of 72 hours. Filled with determination, Keith chose his soon-to-be record-breaking stallion. However, things are not always what they seem. Keith, who was so filled with determination just moments ago, would not only fail to reach the record, but almost chicken out immediately. Keith grew hysterical, making wild claims of how the horse had bit him. I gotta go. The horse bit me. The horse bit me. It bit me. Wow, this is just like you. You have no follow through. Keith would unexpectedly collapse 10 minutes in. For as you see, Keith was wrong. The horse could not have bitten him. It's an inanimate object after all. The snake burrowed within the horse. Very much did. Perception is everything. Today was not an ordinary day for William and Linda Shrang, the couple who had a pleasant evening of a family gathering. Wishing the night would last a little longer, would find they were unexpectedly in for a long night. They would approach their Mercedes-Benz parked along the curb, only to find the vehicle has miraculously vanished into thin air. They, nor their friends and family, nor the police could find the missing vehicle. Yet, the missing car would find itself the very next morning. A note left on the windshield. Sorry, my wife was having a medical emergency, and in the panic, I noticed your car with the door slightly open. I am forever thankful to you. And here, we have a couple tickets to a special premiere to The Greatest Showman. We both agree that spending the night with our new bundle of joy is time better spent. I mean, who can resist Hugh Jackman's musical side? Another fun night for the Shrang couple would end in a very rude awakening. On the door to their home was a second note. Hope you enjoyed your movie. On the other side of the door, now most of their possessions have also gone missing. And this time the couple would not be so lucky. So this humble narrator finds that today, like every day, is so undoubtedly eventful. These strange things could happen all the time. Remember, things are not always what they appear to be. Wow, people will believe anything these days. Did you hear that? I might need to get these pipes checked out at this place. So I've been watching a lot of unconventional stuff to find something that sparks the creative juices. This time we're going to do more of a exploration of criticism itself. Because if I had to choose how to describe some of what I've been watching, I would call it gimmicky. And I think the term gimmicky is an interesting discussion. I think most would agree that it somewhat has a negative connotation, but it is so broad in usage that it begs the question, is it bad faith criticism? A gimmick is a means to attract attention or publicity, and no matter what, every piece of media has a gimmick or selling point. Even if you're not hoping for, huge box office success, making purely auteur for your own catharsis, you're still presenting an idea in hopes of resonating with a shared connection with an audience, no matter how small that audience may be. So, if it applies to everything, is gimmicky fair criticism? A similar situation is judging something to be overrated, underrated. I think calling something overrated is a good talking point, but rarely a valid critique. And that comes with, to say something is over underrated is either thrown out lofty or contextually. Make a blanket statement. Steven Spielberg is overrated. I mean, of course he is. I've seen the BFG. I mean, this is common engagement bait, but this really only tells me that this person's opinion is less or more favorable than their own perception of what the consensus is. On the other hand, Citizen Kane is the number one on AFI's list of top 100 movies. Citizen Kane, as the number one movie, is overrated. And now that's a very specific rating. I think anyone who wants to criticize that is now coming up with cons against why Citizen Kane shouldn't be the top spot, or support of other lower rated films. It's still all opinions, and there's no right answer in opinions, unless the mine. But rated criticisms can at least springboard for addressing or delivering said opinions. So let's circle back to gimmicky. There's no context, but usually you have to hit an undetermined threshold of apparentness to be labeled as such. If I were to say Spider-Man Far From Home is gimmicky...
But that's it! What?
You are so dumb.
What?
I mean, smart as a whip. Just a...
gimmicky.
So now all your friends have to die.
I mean, you'd say, that doesn't make any sense. So what gets called gimmicky? 1917, the one-shot narratives. Baby Driver's heavily marketed editing. The entire genre of found footage, Hardcore Henry being shot in POV, Boyhood being filmed over many years, Memento being, unchronological, and the list goes on. These examples hopefully prove that it's not necessarily calling films bad outright.
That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad.
But an aspect of production or premise is pretty much synonymous with the reputation of the film. And with that, I'm just going to watch a variety of gimmicky media and determine how gimmick influences analysis. Am I going to find myself judging these based on the effectiveness of their gimmick or more of the substance beyond it? So let's see what happens when I watch and review some gimmicky films. But first, a word from our sponsor. Gotta keep these lights on somehow. Oh, trats. Hello, I'm Kay at the Movies. It just feels wrong to discuss gimmicks without mention of the Baron of Ballyhoo himself, William Castle. As cinema continues to struggle to usher people to the cinemas, Castle, maybe more than any director, took this as the ultimate challenge.
And remember this, a scream at the right time may save your life.
see, Castle doesn't just sell you a B-movie horror flick. He tries to give you an inventive, unique experience of frights and delights. Castle introduced moviegoers to Percepto.
But don't be alarmed. You can protect yourself. When you see the picture, you will be told, and remember the instruction, how you can guard yourself from attack by the Tingler.
His Tingler was sure to send a tingle down your spine when he rigged some of the seats with electrical buzzers upon the Tingler's presence. Our Emergo! Imagine you're watching a film as a... Ooh, what's that? A plastic skeleton zips through the theater. Castle would make Flo from Progressive proud when he offered $1,000 life insurance if you should die from fright during a showing of one of his films. That sounds pretty spooky. Castle's schemes made way for a history of movie-going gimmicks that seem to evolve, but always tend to be more of a passing fad. From smell-o-vision, yuck, blueberries, to 3D, whoa, to Clue's iconic multiple endings. This is a topic maybe for another day, to go into the rich history and see how these hold up out of theaters. But a very important historical note on the topic of gimmicks, I would be remiss not to mention. One type of gimmick is subversion, especially in genre and conventions. My original concept for this video was actually to do a deep dive into the decay of 90s sitcoms and how the warmth and coziness of aloof feel-good sitcoms have recently been turned on their head to show the lie of their presentation. Too Many Cooks, Mr. Robot, BoJack Horseman, heck, even The Boys. A lot of media is taking the wholesome charm of yesteryear's television, and in order to highlight the disconnect from gritty reality. The show that leans into this the most is Kevin Can F Himself. This AMC original show is about the life of Allison McRoberts, the wife of Kevin.
I just had the most amazing night of my entire life. The crowd demanded 3 karaoke encores of Don't Stop Believin'.
Kevin is shown as the typical goofy, aloof sitcom protagonist.
Okay, no liquor, only beer. We have that appointment at the bank first thing tomorrow.
Hey, I'll take it easy like Sunday morning.
It's Monday morning.
What?
Huh?
So, of course, Allison loathes this man. Imagine being married to a Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin type.
It's a stupid idea! You're a stupid man! A stupid, stupid man!
Ow! You're hurting me! Stop it! Stop it, Lois!
No! I'm so sick of your crap! Why do you always do these stupid things? And why do you always announce them to me before you do them? Are you trying to get a rise out of me? Are you happy now? Is this what you want?
Oh, no! It's not what I want! It's not what I want! I'm sorry! I'm sorry!
Maybe it works out in fiction, but when applied to the real world, yikes. Kevin Can F Himself is a very abrasive gimmick of flipping into the bright, artificial sitcom life of Kevin and the muted, drab reality that Allison actually endures. While the novelty of the dual act might not be sustainable, I enjoyed it for what it was and it kept me engaged with the bigger picture. The sitcom elements is more of a representation of how Allison views Kevin, which is always begging the question, how sad are the events without hiding it behind the laugh track? The premise is more of a flavor enhancer, as the show holds up on its own. It gives Allison a journey of reclamation of her life with plenty of drama ensuing from her schemes. The show works almost separate from the concept in that it's about a Bostonian housewife entering this dark crime world of drug deals and attempted assassinations, which is a winning concept on its own.
What are you after? Cheating husbands?
This is, much more complicated than that. We're a lot of work.
Well acted, shout out to Annie Murphy. Not a big fan of everything she's in, but always commend her for being willing. Eric Peterson was Shrek on Broadway, and I don't really know where to fit that in, but I can't not share that with the class.
Hi, Dallas. It's Shrek. Can't wait to see you down in Texas. I think we're there during the state fair, so come and see us. Go Cowboys. See you soon, Dallas. Bye-bye.
Overall, I can see the limitations of the premise. It feels like a really strong pilot, but not a long-running series. Kevin can have himself finished up after 2 seasons, and I think it's a satisfying laugh, and at its core, nice sentimental finding that it's not too late to change your life for the better. A problem that I just can't relate to. I mean, look at me. I'm a YouTuber. Of course my life is the ideal fantasy that we all want. Oh my god, who could be at the door? It must be the person delivering my painting. Never say I didn't have the smarts for arts. Jalopy, or The Peasants, is a film unlike any other, except for the other one. The Polish animation studio Breakthrough Productions is a studio with a novel calling card. So I'm sure you might be familiar with the studio's Oscar-nominated debut film, Loving Vincent, a gorgeous homage to Van Gogh, a one-of-a-kind biopic because it's animated in Legos.
Whoa.
Now, 6 years spent by 125 painters making a rotoscope animation with paintings inspired by Van Gogh's art. The artistry on display is mesmerizing, and it shows a great adulation to the subject. So, does this project lose some of the magic when you try to recreate it? A bit. The Peasants is also worth a watch, because it is, as well, incredibly breathtaking. While Van Gogh is sort of universally respected artist, The Peasants go with something more rooted in Danish culture. It really wows, because I think this one has more dynamic moments of movement and dancing and fucking. There's a lot of experimental camera angles, and that certainly adds to the flair. That said, the gimmick here is hard to separate, and it does hurt the film in some ways. While some of the action is a little bit more involved, I do think Van Gogh had a more rich style to try to duplicate. Some performance might be lost in translation, and with it being a rather rudimentary kind of Scarlet Letter story, is it worth how expensive and time-consuming the means of production is? It begs the question of whether the story would be good on its own if it didn't have such a stunning animation concept. That answer is kind of no. There's a lot of well-written commentary and themes, but probably not enough to be an aesthetically pleasing, above an average affair. I still think it's worth a watch, and hey, the studio is currently working on an adaptation of Midsummer's Night's Dream, which I will definitely be keeping an eye out for. A little bit of a sophomore slump, but hopefully Puck will restore amends. So I believe in the rule of 3 for video essays such as this, and I kind of stumbled upon Kevin and the Peasants naturally, and made the connection to address them both through the lens of gimmick. So in need of a third topic, I went deep into research mode. Redditor Chemical Sand understood the assignment and offered plenty of good gimmick movies, and made some more unconventional choices. Cleo from 5 to 7, Monokamana, Psychosymbiotaxoplasm, but it was his final entry that intrigued me. The Taste of Cherry. Watch and find out. Now, this presents an interesting option to round out the video in watching a gimmick film without knowing the gimmick. And that was an interesting way to view this, because it has a very upfront gimmick, similar to Locke, the movie starring Tom Hardy, in that this mostly takes place within the confines of a car. But that's something that doesn't seem to be what Chemical Sand is getting at. The Taste of Cherry is a poetic, minimalist, melancholic journey that is so trimmed of fat that it is impressive how profound it tends to be in short bursts. Badi is a simple man who is just driving up the hills of Tetron, hoping to find someone to do a simple job. Very simple. Can you just meet me up in the middle of nowhere and just bring a shovel and fill a 6-foot hole? And I insist that I will pay you full in advance. Call me crappy because I'm bringing that shovel. Why do we need a shovel? What do we need a shovel for? Are we bury what are we burying? Why do we need a shovel? So yeah, The Taste of Cherry is a tale of a man finding someone who will give him a proper burial after he, you know. What is probably the greatest strength and weakness of this film is that it is drowned in ambiguity. The motive or circumstances that hang over Badi is not really disclosed or even hinted at. He has a reason, he has conviction, but doesn't wish to share or talk about it, which is understandable. While this is frustrating to some, I'd argue it doesn't matter. But he is less of a character, but more of a stand-in. Relatable because his broad sense of pain and misery can be filled with what you deem appropriate. Maddie Lucas of From the Front Row described the quality of this film as haunting mysticism, which is a good way to put it. The film is shockingly less a character study, but more a meditation and dive into philosophy. Each passenger that Badi encounters offers a new perspective on the meanings of life, the morality of his grave decision, and attempts to encourage him to reconsider. The title of this film is in reference to one of the passengers' antidotes about feeling the same and attempting to end it all as well. When he failed to do so, he tried some of the mulberries on the tree and took it as a symbolic gesture of rediscovering a taste for life again. Lucky it was mulberries, not blueberries. If that was me, that would encourage me to, take it from the top. Taste of Cherry offers just enough to seem like an appreciative proverb of appreciating life and learning to live with the pain that consumes you. When Badi lays in his potential resting spot, it dawns on me how this film is going to continue its ambiguity and probably leave an open ending which thematically fits the overall empathy the film has. What I was not prepared for is the final scene of the film. The film ends not in providing an answer, but essentially raising a final question. The film does not end with Badi's decision, or any of the hitchhikers going to make the discovery. The film ends on the camcorder footage of director Kiarostami and his film crew wrapping up production, ending filming of the movie. This now leaves an ending that is fully interpretational. Badi is a reflection of Kiarostami, and despite his own troubling thoughts, his passion for filmmaking is his taste of cherry that motivates him onward. Or is it a reminder to the audience that Badi and the events of the film, at the end of the day, are fiction? Badi's decision isn't the one that matters. It's on us, the audience. As the fourth wall breaks, it twists the mirror onto us. What did we gain from this? And what is our cherry that dissuades us from closing the door and finding that spirit to continue on? Taste of Cherry is a remarkable piece of art that so eloquently engages us with everything life has to offer, but not giving us the solution, but the encouragement to keep trying to find answers for ourselves. And with that, maybe it's not just movies and television. Maybe everyone has a gimmick. Something we attempt to define who we are, even if we're not attempting to be the most popular or successful. Don't we all want to be seen, appreciated, valued? Well, life comes in all flavors, I suppose. A gimmick is just an impression of who and how we choose to be. Do you choose to just be someone in the crowd, or do you let your own unique individuality flourish and find itself, even if someone will find it too gimmicky? Maybe this one was more for me, but maybe you'll get something out of it too. Well, regardless, here I am, where I belong, here at the movies. Hey, if you really want to see this channel thrive, please consider like, comment, and subscribe. I'd appreciate a little adulation. I'm a fun guy, they call me a vacation. Eat the pussy up, they thinking I'm a Haitian. If you want to help increase the video runtime, then hold up, 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 hold up.